No, I mean it's really the same for everyone, so I don't think it'll be a huge difference.
One thing I've heard is that this could potentially hinder the bigger teams like 2311 and Joe Gibbs because you guys come to the track so buttoned up with the Sims and everything else. Some of the other teams don't have that, so maybe that can help them kind of close that gap. Is that a fair thing, or does it just creep up on that? I don't think they want to get it.
Okay. I mean, are we really thinking that it's going to make the middle teams like all of a sudden start winning races?
That's what I was told.
Okay. We'll see.
What will 450 laps here tomorrow, Denny, be like for the driver, and what will it be like for the car?
450?
Yeah, tomorrow.
It's going to be long. Yeah, it'll be long for sure. I mean, I think about it just kind of depends on how many cautions and things like that, but ultimately it'll be a long, grueling race, one where you got to be certainly very patient. But I don't know. I've never experienced it here at this racetrack, even as old as I am. So I'm gonna find out with everybody else.
Are these cars too good nowadays to kind of stuff fall off, like brakes? Like could there be people hard on the brakes? Could there be mechanical issues, or are we past those days because of how good these cars are?
Yeah, they're all pretty reliable from that standpoint mechanically. Brakes and all seem like they could go quite some time. I don't foresee it really being any kind of issue. I mean,
so more on the driver maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, probably more driver than anything else.
How much more difficult will the heat make it?
I mean, I don't know. We've raced in heat like this before, I think. But it's humidity. Humidity, I think, is the biggest factor that causes driver fatigue. More so than temperature. So if it's going to be humid, then you're going to see a lot of sweating, a lot of dehydration. Then they get overheated.
Will you have, I guess, kind of an advantage of the way that the cool suits keep failing and you just don't wear it?
Mm-hmm. No, I just don't. I found that it's best for me. And it's a nice luxury, obviously, but I just never have gotten used to it, and so I've just kind of been fine the way I am.
What do you envision the racing being like with having all the traffic, all these laps, day to night, all this stuff? What do you envision the tires and all that being like?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the traffic does, right? I mean, at Martinsville, it's definitely a factor when the leader catches the back of the pack, and we never got to see that last year, just simply because of the amount of cars and the length of the runs. We never really saw the yo-yo effect that typically happens at short tracks with next gen, and that is the leader catches the back, gets stuck, and then here comes the field to him. So I don't know how that's going to turn out here, but I mean, obviously with this size racetrack, you got to think the leader's going to get there somewhat soon. And does that tighten up the field at the end of these stages or not? So I think you got to be able to maneuver through traffic. You can't just rely on track position to carry the speed of the car for you. You're going to have a car that certainly can move around, because that lap traffic is going to be one that is certainly going to play a factor in this whole thing.
Denny, you've stated in the past that on any track that turns left, you have a chance to win. But what is the difference in confidence between like a 1.5 mile track or like a short track like North Wilkesboro?
It's a little different. I mean, when I come, here, I got so much, a little bit of PTSD from last year, just not running well at all. But the year before we were right in the mix for the win. So, just maybe chalk it up to that. But I'm interested to see how this practice goes for us, but I still feel confident. I mean, really, that all the ovals, I feel like our team is very capable of winning, and here in Iowa are the only two kind of short tracks that I really don't know where we stand performance-wise.
Denny, on the subject of the rule changes for Daytona, there were some fans that were kind of hung up about the reduction in horsepower part of that announcement. For the layman, can you explain exactly why that's being made and why it's not necessarily a big deal that the horsepower number is smaller for Daytona?
Well, I did a press conference with NASCAR, the Inside the Race. I encourage them to go watch that, and then go watch. I think Bozy did a video recap of it. But essentially, we're going to be going faster. Cars in the past used to have less horsepower than we have now.
How was it dealing with the host of our fans online this week?
It's been fine. I've got some pretty good ones myself.
The Indy next week. Give me kind of a preview of Indy and what you expect out of it up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly one that I'm focused on and want to run well at it. It's such a execution racetrack where it's like, your weekend, your Sunday result has a lot to do with what happens during practice and qualifying and all those things. So, and then, conversely, it's like, well, where do I finish this week? That will decide where I go out next week. And so, you got to have it all put together, and it's certainly one where our team is going to be prepared, and hopefully, I'll bring our best.
Denny, is there any advantage from your point of view of being locked into the chase this early with just you and Tyler, or is it just still pedal to the metal? Because I know you're still trying to win the regular season championship.
I don't know. I've never been really a bubble guy, so I always assume when we start Daytona that I'm locked in.
Blaney kind of had a statement win last week. Who besides him that you see making a run at you and Tyler Reddick?
Well, I mean, it just depends on the racetracks. We know what they are in the final 10. They're a little bit more conventional. I think that certainly the Hendrick cars are starting to find some good speed. So any of those guys in that group within JGR and the Toyota family as well. So, I mean, I think it's the same cast of 7 to 8 guys that we talk about every week as the favorites.
And you mentioned having PTSD from here last year. Mentally, how do you get yourself across that threshold?
Well, you just look at all the information to try to figure out, whether it was an isolated thing. It appears that we just kind of missed our setup from last year and didn't quite get it right. Started in the heat race, we were really bad. So we got it better during the race, but certainly not the result that is up to our standards. So you don't do anything about it except for put it back on the racetrack here in about 30 minutes and see if we got it fixed.
That being said, this new bumper, how is it going to affect the dynamic of the race?
Well, you have to be more careful. It's the only thing I can really say is, our manufacturers are certainly worried about, the contact and what it could do to the engines due to the cutoff of the airflow. So I think that you got to tread lightly, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's certainly some stack ups where more than likely I think it's going to be a restart stack up. 5 cars back ends up getting their hood knocked up and their front bumpers pushed in.
Appreciate your time.
Some of the drivers have said it's worse than the Gen 6 car.
Which part?
The bumpers for tomorrow. That like you could cook the engine if you.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no structure behind it now. So I mean, there's structure, but there's no foam, and so yeah, I think it's going to be way more fragile than what we've had in the past. I mean, think about the distance between the actual, like even in the Gen 4 car, 5 car. The bumper bars were always up against the nose. Now there's like this just huge void and gap of nothingness. So it's just going to crinkle in now.
Did you see the rule changes for Daytona?
I'm aware.
Christopher said he was pumped. Do you feel like there should have been practice, or are you okay with just going and winging it?
I'm fine either way on it. I don't think it'll be such a big change that on lap 3 we're going to be saying, oh wow. But I do think it's going to be something different. And I think the change will be 30% in the right direction of where we're going. So it's just going to take a little bit of time. I don't think handling-wise it's going to be too big of an issue, although I do think handling will be something there in that hot Daytona race. So I don't know. We'll just see how it plays out. But everyone's really good, and I just I'm fine if they want to do a short practice to just check travels or something. But yeah, I don't think it's going to change much.
With the new bumper and then the next gen car not really doing well with short tracks in the past in terms of passing, marrying that together, what do you think we're going to see tomorrow night?
I think it'll be a really wide short track. If you think about all the short tracks that we've got, not many of them are very wide. And the reason the racing has kind of suffered is that typically the shorter the track, the narrower the surface is. Well, here's a little bit different. So I do think that the good cars can find their way towards the front. It's just a matter of whether it puts on the great show or not. I mean, at Bristol, we went from a one-lane track to a super wide track, and the fans hated it. So I have no idea, truthfully, and we'll find out together.